One of the most underreported stories of the 2015 federal election was the registered third-party groups with Elections Canada that campaigned on behalf of Justin Trudeau. And if you're wondering why something like that wasn't talked about much in the press, then you need to look no further than the fact the biggest media union in Canada formally registered to oppose Stephen Harper and ensure their dreamy man-child Justin Trudeau made it into office. I mean, it was bad enough that we have the state broadcaster at the CBC literally fawning over Trudeau for 3 years before the election. If you recall, one of the most effective third-party campaigns was run by Lead Now and Dogwood Initiative, which pushed a strategic voting campaign to ensure Conservatives were not elected in various ridings, especially here in BC. Last week, I told you about how Dogwood was back at it again, with a rather hypocritical campaign of banning the big money in BC politics, all while accepting well over $1 million from the George Soros-funded Tides Foundation out of San Francisco. Well, with an election in BC under 2 weeks away, the same familiar forces are at it again, registering in big numbers with Elections BC to actively participate in trying to elect the BC NDP. It's actually quite insane. There are more third-party groups registered for this provincial election in a province of 4.5 million people than our last federal election across the whole country. But what do you expect from BC? It is the activist capital of the country, after all, and the home to all our crazy environmental groups pushing for things like energy poverty and the like. I mean, take a look here. Just look at this list scrolling down the screen right now. I see dozens of teachers' associations, dozens of union groups, oh, of course, plenty of environmental groups as well. And yeah, there are a couple pro-business groups in there, but those seem to be outnumbered at least 10 to 1. You know, it's bad enough that the NDP have the United Steelworkers based out of Pittsburgh donating hundreds of thousands of dollars to the party, providing fully paid campaign staff, but now the NDP are getting what is essentially free campaigning from these various left-wing groups. I can't even imagine for a second all these activists dreaming of a BC NDP win and what kind of crony appointments people will get from these third-party groups should their efforts come to fruition and the NDP get elected. Look, these people will become our destroyers. BC isn't the tall poppy of Confederation the way Alberta is, but we've been doing pretty well since we removed the NDP from power in 2001. We've been leading the nation in economic growth for a number of years now, and taxes are so low, you know these radical NDP activists just cannot wait to jack up both personal, corporate, and of course, the carbon tax. It's pretty clear that Rachel Notley will be a one-term wonder. That means we have an incredible opportunity here in BC to rid this nation of NDP governments once and for all. If we reject the NDP in BC and once Notley is defeated in 2019, there won't be a single NDP government anywhere in the country for the first time in over 30 years. So with that in mind, I want to make a direct appeal to any Conservatives in the province who are not yet willing to support the BC Liberals and Christy Clark. I know she's not perfect. I know the BC Liberals have pushed the envelope of what is ethical as far as fundraising is concerned. I know they seem slow to act on the housing crisis, and I know they aren't truly a Conservative party. But let's learn some lessons from Alberta and our last federal election, and heck, even the election of Barack Obama. Change for the sake of change can have far-reaching consequences. Christy Clark is not Alison Redford. She has not faced legitimate calls for resignation for anything close to what the PC government in Alberta was doing during their last days. Honestly, if you can't bring yourself to vote for the BC Liberals, then fine. But don't cut off your nose to spite your face and vote NDP. Instead, spoil your ballot. Vote Green. Just don't vote NDP. Our province can't take that risk. For the Rebel.media, I'm Christopher Wilson. Third-party advertising is a big issue in Canada, and the media party won't touch it because you know they're on the side of the left-wing groups that are active. So keep it locked to the Rebel for the truth about this and many other things before the election May 9th.